Hi guys, welcome to Bible Breakdown. We are doing 1 Samuel chapter 18. Also, there's no glare today. I don't know why, but okay. So Jonathan, he loved David. Jonathan is Saul's son, and they were like best friends after all this happened. And then it says Saul kept David, this is verse 2. Saul kept David with him for the day on and did not let him return to his father's house. So Saul, he held him captive, low-key. Then verse 3, it says that Jonathan, he made a covenant with David, and he ended up giving him his robe and also gave him his military tunic, his sword, his bow, and his belt. Talk about a friendship, because he just really gave him all his possessions and was like, here, bestie, you take it. You have it. Like, okay. Every task that Saul made David do, he was very successful, and everyone loved David. Like, they loved this man. It says that Saul put him in command of the fighting men, which pleased all the people and Saul's servants as well. Now, this is when it starts to take a little turn, because Saul starts to get a little bit jealous, okay? And by a little, I mean a lot. So David, he returns from killing Goliath, and he's coming back to the people, and there's women waiting for the King Saul, okay? But they start singing the song, and it says, verse 7 says, as they danced, the women sang, Saul has killed his thousands, but David his tens of thousands. Saul, he really didn't like that song. He was not bumping it. He was not banging with it. Wasn't his cup of tea. He got very mad about it. And then he says, what more can he have but the kingdom? So then verse 9 says, so Saul watched David jealously from that day forward. So now, Saul, he has an evil spirit enter him. And David's original job was to play the lyre, play the harp for Saul so that this evil spirit can leave. Well, it says that Saul, he was holding a spear and he threw it thinking, I'll pin David to the wall. But David got away from him twice. So just think about it. David is helping Saul out. He's playing him the song so that the evil spirit can leave. And Saul tries to kill him. Saul tries to kill him with a spear. But David, he said, mm-mm-mm. I wonder though if David like peeped or if it was just like the Lord protecting him. I'm pretty sure it was the Lord. Yep. It's literally the next verse. It says Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with David but had left Saul. So Saul sends David away to lead the troops, and he was very successful, mostly because the Lord was with him. Saul hated this. He hated the idea of David being the most loved person because he was. It says that the people of Israel and the people of Judah loved David. But verse 17 says, Saul told David, here's my oldest daughter, Merab. I'll give her to you as a wife if you will be a warrior for me and fight the Lord's battles. But Saul was thinking, I don't need to raise a hand against him. Let the hand of the Philistines be against him. So Saul is trying to concoct an idea or a plan to have David killed without Saul doing the killing. So he's like, let me throw him into battle as much as possible so the Philistines can kill him instead of me, and they'll do my dirty work. But David, he's like, how is a person from where I come from capable of being the son-in-law to a king? So he basically declines the offer, and then Saul's daughter marries another man. Now Saul, he has another daughter. We're going to pronounce her name Michal. It could be wrong, but that's just how we're going to do it. She loved David, and Saul wanted to use this for his favor. He said, she'll be a trap for him, and the hands of the Philistines will be against him. So he was going to use his daughter as a trap to kill David. How evil is that? So Saul, he is pressed to have David as his son-in-law, even though David was like, no. So he tells his servants, speak to him in private, see what he'll say, try to convince him as best as you can. So they go to David and they tell him, like, listen, Saul loves you. He wants you to be his son-in-law. Like, what do you think? He has a daughter for you. Do you accept? And David's like, do y'all not understand how much pressure it is, how much value there is to being the son-in-law to a king? And he's like, I'm a poor commoner. You really think I'm capable? So the servants, they go back to Saul, they report what he says, and verse 25 says, then Saul replied, say this to David, the king desires no other bride price except 100 Philistine foreskins to take revenge on his enemies. Actually, Saul intended to cause David's death at the hands of the Philistines. So Saul will not rest. He wants David dead so bad. He's probably tried 4 times now and failed every time. Like, take the hint. He's not going anywhere on your account, at least. So the servants, they go back to David and they tell him what Saul said. And David's basically like, now y'all talking my language. Now, y'all already know. David is that guy, okay? So verse 27 says, David and his men went out and killed 200 Philistines. That's double what Saul asked for. He brought their foreskins and presented them as full payment to the king to become his son-in-law. So Saul, he gives his daughter to David as he promised, and he notices like his daughter loves David. The Lord is with David. David's basically just getting everything, you know? So now Saul is David's enemy. How, after all he's done for you, you're going to be this man's enemy? Jealousy. Then verse 30, the last verse says, every time the Philistine commanders came out to fight, David was more successful than all of Saul's officers. So his name became well known. And that's the end of chapter 18. So Saul is now David's enemy. And I don't even think David knows. Like, this is a one-sided hatred. But that's all I have for y'all. I love y'all. God loves y'all more. Have a great night.